Hey, how's it going? So, there was I'm just talking like I'm still on the last video I did, which was about that. But I'm not talking about that this time. I am actually going to talk about something that I like to call one for the Ministry of Unpopular Remarks. And I had pulled some cards that just came to mind when I knew I was gonna talk about this. So they are Judgment and Temperance, and they make total sense because the unpopular thing that I want to say is, if you noticed, and even if you're not really paying attention, I don't see how you could have noticed in the age of social media, especially where there are a lot of people who, I bet you're going to say, you think I'm going to say something terrible about like Trump people or MAGA or something. Nope. What I was going to say is that we are in a period right now where a lot of us have ideas about what is good and what is bad. Like, for instance, a teacher, if we just get rid of all the CRT junk and distraction BS that we're talking right now, and okay, let's say we're talking about a teacher of young kids, like kindergarten to third grade, and they're learning their alphabet and they're learning their numbers and they're learning stuff like, I don't know what the books are these days, and I know there's a lot of them, but a lot of the stuff that I read and dealt with when I was a child were Dick and Jane books, which were sort of about etiquette and manners and, easy to digest morals for kids. And then you have someone like, sorry, people that are his fans, he's just the guy with the name that's like basically the instigator of a war, so he's going to go in the bad category. And then you have, also in your bad category, you got your rapists, your child traffickers, or your human traffickers, your domestic abusers, your domestic terrorists, whatever it is that we attach the word bad to, that we pretty much can all agree is something negative, something or someone negative. And then we'll spend a lot of time focusing on victims of, like, the earthquake that just happened. There's lots of people there and that's not one of those situations that can be blamed on like a human, like no one human directly caused that. Like, no one pulled the lever and said, I'm going to make an earthquake, make buildings fall on a bunch of people. That's an act of God, an act of nature. We can't really blame those on each other. So that, I guess, is a bad example. But there are things that we, assign good value and bad value to, and the good stuff gets a lot of attention, and we're sort of conditioned and also inclined to want to help, and want to help something that we think is good, that we think can be tarnished or harmed and is innocent or something like that. And I'm not saying there's anything at all wrong with that, but at the same time, and it's hard for me to remember this because I fall into these learned attitudes so easily myself, because I also have been conditioned to think like good is good, bad is not good, bad is bad. But the thing is we pretty much live in like an interlocking system, and we will do a lot of judging of other people, and we don't then also say, is this something I do, or how would I feel if this was done to me or said about me? And so I've seen it and heard it in a lot of teachings, but we're also, it's suggested to love each other unconditionally. And it's so easy for us to just get mad and hate. But the thing is in the interlocking system of contrast that we have, the good has a role and also the bad has a role, and someone has to play that role. Someone has to accept playing that role. And I'm going to direct people to a term called soul contract and look that up because I don't want to explain it. But basically, what it is we sort of work out pretty much every aspect of what our life is going to be and do before we even get on this side of the veil and are produced through intercourse. So I just always find it amusing when people say, I didn't sign up for this. And it's like, it's funny that you say that because you kind of did. You just don't remember. So somebody has decided to take on the bad roles, like knowing that they're going to come in and be the bad person, and they get to have everything that goes along with that, which could be great things and finery and a rich, luxurious life, or it could be really horrible and terrible, or all of those things together and be a bad thing, or be the thing that we consider bad, or the person we consider bad, or the act that we consider bad. But, we wouldn't be able to lord it over the bad people and their bad things and think we're so much better than them if we were all good and there was no contrast. So to have the good, you kind of have the bad to define one another and set the confines for our state of mind, for our decisions on like the behavior that we have. So we have these roles, we take these roles, and we can move out of them. We have free will. I mean, we can go from being the good person that cares about others, that is generous, that is self-sacrificing, and judge them good and okay, but we don't give the same sort of leeway to the bad people who support the other end of this structure. They support, or it rather, the negative, the bad, supports the other end of the whole construct, because it's just the world we have. I don't have an explanation for it. It's like there's no beginning or end of time. It's just continuous. And that's a hard concept for people to grab onto, which brings me back to the Ministry of Bad or Unpopular Remarks. I'm just going to sum up here because it's pretty simple. I already said enough expository on that. We can, in either case, good or bad, decide to be good or bad. We can decide to flip-flop and go from bad to good and vice versa. That's what we have the free will for. And that's also what makes life interesting. That's what makes the contrast more contrasty. I know I just heard myself. Anyway, that's what I had to say. Thank you and good night. Yeah.